Okay, so well, first of all, you might notice that I got a haircut today. I think they did pretty good. um, I won't look like this tomorrow, and they put some gel in it and spruced it up. But anyway, so I've been meaning to make this video for just over a week now, about a week now. And I don't know, just never got a chance to or something. And since then, a couple other things happened that I want to talk about. First and foremost, I think my hemp oil has been affecting me differently recently. Last week, I went through a crazy experience, like ayahuasca ceremony crazy. I took a dose of hemp oil, maybe a little bigger than usual, but not by much. And I was very full at the time, so I didn't expect it to kick in so quickly. But like 2 hours later, it hits me like a freaking bomb, harder than I ever remember it hitting me before. And it I could barely I could barely walk within about half an hour after it hit me, and started. Well, I went into this state where it was like it was kind of a I could tell where I mean I could tell what was true and what wasn't. I could see connections from of between one thing and another totally seemingly unrelated thing, and this during about a 3 hour period where I was under an extreme level of influence. I learned a lot of stuff that that I've been pondering over for years, particularly this past year. So the only documentation I have of the stuff is certain messages that I sent to some intuitive familiars. So first of all, my past life issue, which I've mentioned before, I believe. In case I haven't, it was a past life trauma that I've heard of a couple times from Gary from Tierra Vita during my ayahuasca experiences, and from Michael Shane, who explained what happened during that past life experience. I might put a video up about that later. First of all, my past life issue is a lot more influencing on my life than I ever expected. Even after Michael has explained it to me. It was also self-imposed. First of all, this is all stuff that I learned about myself while under the influence, and so there wasn't anything that I was told by anybody. This is just, I had certain feelings about these things and knew in through every fiber of my being that it was true. I just asked myself questions and knew the answers, and that's why I say that it was similar to ayahuasca, an ayahuasca ceremony, because the questions and answers that I was getting were all mostly focused towards myself, and unlike ayahuasca, it was more informative than healing. Although I do believe that it opened certain things up in me due to certain experiences I've had over the past week or so. and it was a lot. It was just as intense and a lot less gentle. It was pretty freaky. Um, so, so yeah, my past life issue is a lot more influencing than I expected, and it was also self-imposed, or yeah, like either by personal design before I came to those two through that life, um, or to act as a protection from myself during this life, in the form of a tragic disaster until I was old, mature, and resourced enough to actually remove it. When I say it was self-imposed, I mean it was like planned out. Um, how would I put it? It's like before I even started that past life, I planned it out so that that past life trauma would be put in place as a sort of shield or protection for from myself and from my environment during this life. So, so this protection is meant mostly to block the outer modern environment to influence me too much, as well as, you know, for, like people who would prefer to put their ideas on me and crush my ideas that you know, Catholicism is the only way to go, and or something like that, or that my ideas towards spirituality or the occult are total bogus and not worth pursuing. And it's also to keep me from trying to influence the world too early in my life, and coming off as a goof or a psycho, or end up in a psych ward. But it also handicaps me to the point of being literally retarded on the higher levels, and probably actually even on the physical level. Not by much. It's very, very mild retardation. Not to the point where it would be particularly noticeable, but at least not anymore. It's blocking more than just influence from the physical dimension. All signals, all connections to the higher realms are being obstructed. I've had to develop a psychic vampire I've had to develop into a psychic vampire just to get enough power to survive normally, which is a possible reason why my epilepsy seemed to become easier to control later on, because when I first started having epilepsy, I hadn't yet developed into a psychic vampire, and I wasn't getting enough physical or mental, emotional, or spiritual energies to live a normal lifestyle, and so I was having seizures a few times a day, and then eventually once every few days. And once I developed into a psychic vampire, it moved on to about once every three months, or even 6 months. So I'm now getting sufficient levels of energy to sustain a normal lifestyle instead of being in a mentally handicapped ward. You know, this was also something I learned tonight, that I'm a vampire, so to speak, which I already had suspicions of due to some certain like experimental ritual things that Oliver and I did a couple of years ago. Like I have 6 layers on each of my chakras, whereas most people have only one. I have 6, and that somehow has something to do with my being a psychic vampire or something, or maybe maybe it was just there to begin with. I'm not sure, but so um, barely enough energy is leaking through for me to keep developing spiritually, uh, which is possibly the only reason I was still able to get so interested in spirituality in the first place. Um, Although, actually, on second thought, maybe not that. I was probably still pretty. It was probably still pretty ingrained in my brain, in my physical brain, just to really be interested in that kind of thing. I don't know, but so the other use for the protection of this shield, that the shield provides, in some cases is like a kind of a spiritual workout handicap. Um, I've been striving for years to overcome this handicap on the spiritual level, and I've come a long way. And because I've been working on that spiritual development while banging against this shield, it's like a sprinter putting on a parachute behind him to increase the resistance. Um, it's like a workout tool almost. Um, and thanks to that, I got a taste of what it will be like after I remove the shield, and I'm now roughly 3 to 5 times more spiritually able than the average intuitive. Um, you know, or I will be once I remove the shield. Um, um, and in terms of the workout handicap, I say in some cases because I'm not unique. Um, my theory is that all indigo, crystal, and rainbow children were prepped in similar styles before launch, before they were sent here. If you don't know what indigo or crystal or rainbow children are, I'll probably put that in a video too. Um, um, but in the meantime, so yeah, they were like shielded so as to keep themselves from spouting so-called nonsense too early in the day before they were mature enough to be taken seriously, and at the same time to keep from being influenced too much by their parents, by their by the government, by law, by other belief systems, etc. So, so this has already started. I believe that the indigos were sent to prep the Earth for drastic change, to prep it by kind of opening up the minds of people around the world, getting them to kind of start thinking for themselves more. And then the crystal children were sent to act as teachers, healers, and in some cases protectors. I can't really. I'm not entirely sure about the rainbow children, but I did read an article about these 3 types of children, and they talked about the rainbow children a bit. They are like the fearless leaders who will rise up after the great change and lead us in a new age. They are extremely spiritually gifted and connected. They're the wise leaders that will rise this physical plane up to a higher vibration. My epilepsy, certain personal issues with understanding certain things, and self-consciousness issues are all related to this shield. Taking this shield down is going to be like breaking a dam, letting in a flood that will take several days to subside somewhat. My next ayahuasca retreat is going to be hellish. I was given a short preview of how it'll be like. Like all of the shield's symptoms, my epilepsy, my mental issues, my emotional issues, the fact that I haven't been able to fully feel my emotions all these years, all of it, everything that it affects will hit me all at once. Everything that it blocks off will hit me all at once. Based on what I felt, I won't have, like a full-on epileptic seizure, but it'll be kind of like I'm, for quite a while, I'll be on the brink of having a seizure. And that'll be just one of many symptoms that'll arise during this breaking down of the shield. But in the end, I will get the desired results. Things will never be the same for me. My ability to comprehend, my intuition, my connection to the source, my magic, my physical ability, my health, intelligence, healing, and every other aspect of my being will skyrocket. My emotions will be freed. I'll proceed, and after that, I will basically proceed to develop my position towards global influence, using my past experience, along with my new power source, and the knowledge I'm gaining right now, all to raise my standing in global influence. Another interesting little aspect on rainbow children is that they're supposed to be like the children of crystal children, and yeah, so I thought that was kind of an interesting thing. My diet and past cleansing practices, my current life experiences, and my development of alternative resources to compensate as needed support have all prepared me for this. I was sent as one, and I also learned I was sent as one of the earlier crystals to act as a sort of messenger to other crystals to teach them how to proceed as well, to heal and protect people from coming cataclysmic events, and to prepare this world in the next big jump in the great work to further and further resonate this level of reality with the others. But yeah, as an earlier crystal, I will help the other crystals break down their barriers and come to terms with their true purpose. I've also come to believe that my physical brain functions differently than most. I can't tell if this is a positive or negative difference, although I'm leaning towards negative. Another effect of the shield. My mind is in fact currently handicapped, and the only way to cover it up was to develop certain habitual behaviors, certain like behavioral habits make it seem like I'm operating at the same level as everyone else. I basically learned to act like everybody else so that I wouldn't seem out of place. And this has developed from habits to a level of spiritual connection with those around me, another form of vampirism that provides knowledge. They are like a universal database alternative. Instead of drawing from the universe itself, I'm drawing from the minds of other people around me, and this ability grows stronger around people who have the same interests as I do. People who are more open-minded, and who are experiencing or learning the same things that I am. This could explain the my recently high ability to read people. Over the past few years, I've gotten really good at just knowing what kind of person someone is over the first 10 minutes of knowing them. And all this time I thought it was just kind of a hunch. But it turns out I'm already psychic to a degree, and I just didn't know it because everything just came to me as in the same form as my own thoughts. Therefore, I do not seem as retarded or otherwise handicapped as I am or was before because of the alternatives I've developed. To certain people, I might have mentioned this. Do you ever remember me mentioning that I always felt a few years behind everyone else? This is kind of something I've mentioned to my friends and family. I used to always feel kind of a few years behind everybody else the same age as I am. I thought it was because of my years out of school, but I was even further handicapped than I realized. I was just having a hard time comprehending certain world systems, the current lifestyle of most people, how businesses work, etc. The high that I was experiencing temporarily opened the damn doors for me. Not the damn doors, but the doors of the dam that is blocking, and I got a good taste of what it will be like to be awakened. I could so easily perceive connections to other distant things, seemingly totally unrelated, that affect objects or others, and my ability of perception was freaky. It was like I suddenly knew the answers to every question I asked myself, and like no matter how out there they seemed, I knew for a fact that it was true. Some of the answers are a little too far-fetched or life-spinning to be thrown around. That kind of sums up the first message that I sent. I sent another one when I sobered up a bit. Yeah, I was still pretty high when I wrote this first message. On to part 2.